All that.
I think Shane Beamer is one of the more fascinating coaches in college football right now because in both of his first 2 years, there were moments in September, October where you're like, I don't know about this team. This team don't look very good. Now, in his first year, he closes the year by beating Auburn and beating Florida, who weren't very good, but you still did it. And they had better rosters at that point than South Carolina did. And he got to a bowl with a roster that probably shouldn't have gotten to a bowl. And then he goes and gets Spencer Rattler, and they lose to Missouri at home. They lose to Florida, and he closes. He's 3-1 in November, and he's closed both of his seasons very, very, very strong. That's not an accident. That's not something that just happens. You don't just happen to beat Tennessee by 28 points. You don't just happen to beat Clemson at their place. I mean, those are things that, man, Shane Beamer is just absolutely fascinating to me because he is getting these teams better as they go along. And this year he did it against tougher competition. What does that tell you about the guy? What does that tell you about how he keeps everybody together? And further than that, next year in the East is incredible to me because, to me, when I start to judge teams, right, I start at the two most important positions: head coach, quarterback. How many teams in the East have quarterback figured out for next year already? Not very many. Florida starting over at quarterback. Georgia, well, they're super good, but starting over at quarterback. Tennessee starting over at quarterback. Kentucky starting over at quarterback. And there's South Carolina. They're not starting over at quarterback. In fact, they got a guy who in his last 3 games was outstanding. I almost cussed, and I apologize. He was outstanding. I think the races that Tennessee and South Carolina and Florida all run right now are for second place in the East, right? We're all being realistic here.
Sure.
Everybody's trying to be second place. And I don't know. I mean, South Carolina seems like a solid bet. If Tennessee falls back a little bit, Florida's a mess. Kentucky, I mean, they underachieved this year. Missouri and Vanderbilt exist, I guess. But I think South Carolina could be a decent bet for finishing second in the East next year.